What's going on, guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video, and it looked like a former Nike employee is spilling the beans about Nike and his Caitlin Clark situation.
A former Nike marketing executive has publicly criticized the athletic company's approach to managing their most significant women's basketball endorsement deal. The timing of these revelations, occurring just before major product releases, highlights ongoing tensions between corporate strategy and athlete promotion. Jordan Rodgers, who spent 15 years in Nike's marketing organization, including substantial time in their women's division, expressed frustration with the company's handling of Caitlin Clark's partnership. His background provides credible insight into Nike's internal decision-making processes and marketing priorities.
Caitlin Clark, obviously. Nike have screwed Caitlin Clark.
Nike operates through distinct divisional structures, separating men's and women's marketing departments with dedicated administrative teams managing social media presence. This organizational framework potentially creates coordination challenges when promoting crossover athletes who transcend traditional demographic boundaries. Clark's upcoming releases include Player Edition Kobe Bryant footwear scheduled for immediate availability, followed by additional models planned for October launch. These products represent Nike's first concrete steps toward capitalizing on Clark's marketability since signing her endorsement contract.
Me talk about Caitlin Clark since you refuse to talk about Caitlin Clark. I care deeply about you. I spent over a decade in your marketing organization. I spent several years trying to get into your organization, and it's been 3 years since I left your company. I'm just here as a friend. I care about you.
Rodgers positioned Clark as Nike's most significant signing since Michael Jordan, emphasizing her unique cultural impact compared to other recent high-profile endorsements. This assessment reflects Clark's transcendent appeal beyond traditional basketball audiences into mainstream entertainment consciousness. Nike's promotional patterns suggest reduced emphasis on Clark compared to other women's basketball endorsees. Social media engagement and marketing campaigns appear to favor established players over their newest and most commercially valuable signing, creating apparent strategic contradictions.
I want to show you two different charts here. One, your stock price since 2021. It is down nearly 60%. Your executives and the people who are making these decisions, their stock options are worthless. Meanwhile, you have the single biggest needle mover in all of American sports since Michael Jordan, and you have somehow convinced yourself that you need to slow play this. Let me show you Google Trends search traffic for 4 female basketball players. There is one who only rivals Caitlin Clark, and that is Angel Reese, and you do not have her. She is over at Reebok. I am so confused as to how you would be so invested in the WNBA for several years, and you have been doing great work to try to elevate and uplift that league and many of the athletes there. But this seems like you have convinced yourself that this needs to be an either-or conversation. And we never have an either-or conversation in the men's sports. You have like 10 signature athletes. Half of them don't deserve a signature shoe. And we figure out a way to market them. LeBron James showed up as the chosen one, and you have the chosen one. He got all of the marketing, and yet you still were able to figure out how to market Kobe as well. I realize tomorrow we are going to get a Kobe Protro, apparently. I haven't heard much about it. It's going to be $190. Very few people will be able to get it, and that will be about a year after you have signed her and after she won Rookie of the Year. This is so confusing to me. I am so perplexed. I wrote 2,000 words on it in my newsletter this week to read it, but I didn't even send one last week because I've been sitting in a room like Beautiful Mind trying to figure out all of the stupid reasons why you might be sitting on your hands. Wemby got his Alien campaign less than a year after he had been signed, and he got a Player Edition shoe. I guess that you're doing that with Caitlin, but I'm so confused as to why you wouldn't be doing bigger campaigns with her. You finally put her in a Super Bowl campaign with 9 other women, and all respect to them, but none of them are moving the needle quite like she is. Your tagline in that was "You can't win, so win." One of the best explanations I can come up with is that you are wringing your hands and afraid to enter into this politically divisive conversation that has been co-opted by the media and pundits who are race baiting and doing all kinds of ridiculous things around women's basketball. You can't win, so win. You have the unicorn, the chosen one, the one who everyone wants to hear from, and you were just sitting around Gatorade, State Farm, Gainbridge, Wilson Basketball, have all figured out how to have a point of view with Caitlin Clark. Please, for the love of God, figure something out.
The relationship between Nike and the WNBA adds complexity to individual athlete promotion decisions. League-wide partnerships and existing player relationships may influence how aggressively Nike markets specific individuals, particularly when those players generate controversy or overshadow other endorsed athletes. Rogers highlighted Nike's stock performance decline of nearly 60% since 2021, creating substantial losses for executives whose compensation depends on share price appreciation. This financial pressure should theoretically motivate maximum utilization of high-value marketing assets like Clark's endorsement deal.
We have not talked about in a while is Caitlin Clark and the Nike situation. Now, we know Caitlin Clark got some shoes that is set to be released tomorrow. That is a PE Kobe Bryant shoe, bruh. Yes, Caitlin Clark got her own signature PEs with Kobe Bryant and Nike. Now, one thing about it is there's another shoe that is set to be released in October as well. Now, this is crazy because this former Nike employee is speaking out against the Caitlin Clark situation 24 hours before a shoe is supposed to come out. Now, we know Caitlin Clark is the biggest person.
Google search trend analysis demonstrates Clark's overwhelming dominance in women's basketball popularity metrics. Only Angel Reese occasionally approaches comparable search volumes, and exclusively during controversy periods rather than sustained organic interest. Nike's historical approach to men's basketball endorsements provides stark contrast to their women's division strategy. The company successfully promoted multiple male superstars simultaneously, including LeBron James and Kobe Bryant during overlapping peak periods, suggesting organizational capability for managing concurrent star campaigns.
Nike has signed, in my opinion, since Michael Jordan, bro. No disrespect to LeBron James. I love LeBron, but I feel like Caitlin name ring bells like MJ, bro, when it comes to this whole situation. Now, Nike seem like they kind of been slowing down with the Caitlin Clark department, man. They hardly talk about her. They don't tweet about her. Hell, they show more love to Asia Wilson, bro. I just got to keep it real.
Rogers referenced Victor Wembanyama's rapid campaign development, receiving signature alien marketing within his first professional season. This timeline contrasts sharply with Clark's delayed promotional rollout, occurring over a year after her initial signing and rookie award recognition. The upcoming Kobe Pro release illustrates current limitations in Nike's Clark strategy. Priced at $190 with extremely restricted availability, the shoe targets collectors rather than mass market appeal. Limited distribution suggests either production constraints or deliberate scarcity marketing approaches. Nike's Super Bowl advertisement controversy exemplifies their cautious promotional strategy. The original commercial featured 9 female athletes, but initially omitted Clark from verbal recognition, requiring subsequent editing to address public criticism about the oversight.
I don't know what the situation is between the WNBA and Nike, but it's clear as day they have an agenda against Caitlin Clark. I don't care what nobody says. At this point, we all could agree that they definitely have an agenda against Caitlin Clark, bro. With all that being said, let's head on over to X to see what this former Nike employee.
Competing brands have successfully developed Clark-focused marketing campaigns without apparent controversy. Gatorade, State Farm, Gainbridge, and Wilson Basketball have established clear positioning strategies that leverage her popularity while avoiding the political sensitivities that may constrain Nike's approach. Rogers suggested that Nike's hesitation stems from the politically charged atmosphere surrounding women's basketball. Media coverage and pundit commentary have created divisive narratives that may discourage corporate engagement despite Clark's obvious commercial value. Industry speculation includes questions about Clark's team potentially declining Nike marketing opportunities or presenting difficult collaboration challenges. However, Rogers noted that managing demanding superstar athletes represents standard practice for major endorsement deals, with companies typically accommodating high-maintenance personalities when commercial returns justify the effort.
Gotta say, man, because it is very, very interesting. Because I'm telling you right now, bro, this thing with Nike and Caitlin Clark is not going to end well. I'm calling it right now. Just a bunch of BS. So this guy named here is Jordan Rogers.
Nike has historically bent over backwards for far less commercially significant athletes, making their conservative Clark approach particularly puzzling. The company's willingness to navigate complex celebrity relationships for other endorsees suggests that Clark's situation involves unique considerations beyond typical athlete management challenges. The disconnect between Clark's market dominance and Nike's promotional intensity raises questions about internal company dynamics and decision-making processes. Whether these patterns reflect strategic patience, political sensitivity, or organizational dysfunction remains unclear from external observation. Rogers' public criticism represents unusual insider transparency about corporate marketing decisions. Former employees rarely provide detailed analysis of their previous employers' strategies, particularly regarding ongoing partnerships with active athletes and current business relationships.
Is that? What the hell is that? Like, what the hell was that? The Connecticut Sun did everything they could to lose that game, and the Fever still couldn't win. Kelsey Mitchell, 4 of 15 from the field. A slight improvement on her 4 of 16 game the last day.
The financial implications extend beyond immediate shoe sales to broader brand positioning and market share considerations. Nike's competitors continue gaining ground in women's athletic apparel markets, while the company maintains its restrained approach to promoting basketball's most marketable personality. Clark's unique position as a transcendent sports figure creates unprecedented opportunity costs for delayed or understated marketing campaigns. Every missed promotional opportunity allows competitors to establish stronger associations with women's basketball's primary cultural influence. The situation reflects broader questions about corporate courage and market leadership in culturally sensitive environments. Nike built its reputation on bold athlete partnerships that often generated initial controversy but ultimately proved commercially successful and culturally influential.
And if you guys agree this is crazy, subscribe. We are trying to hit 50k as soon as possible. We're trying to hit 48.3k by the end of the day. So if you guys could subscribe, and if you guys are in the stream or in the video, if we could get to 1,000 likes. If we get to 1,000 likes on this video, that would be absolutely insane. But the Connecticut Sun, lads, the Connecticut Sun scored 85 points. This is a team who only scored 87 against the Wings, so the Wings don't play defense, and they gave 109. They scored 55 points against the Dream. They scored 62 points against the Aces.
Indiana Fever's recent defeat to Connecticut Sun exposed fundamental roster and coaching deficiencies that plagued the franchise beyond their star players' absence. The loss to a winless opponent highlighted systemic problems that transcend individual performances and injury concerns. Connecticut Sun entered the contest with an 0-5 record and historically poor offensive production. Their previous games yielded minimal scoring outputs: 87 points against Dallas Wings, 55 against Atlanta Dream, and 62 versus Las Vegas Aces. The Wings particularly struggled defensively, making Connecticut's modest 87-point performance especially concerning.
They gave up 85 points to the Connecticut Sun. 85 points, lads. And this game was a lot worse than it seemed. Like, with a few minutes to go, DeWanna Bonner just went nuclear hot. She banked a 3 and then hit some crazy shots. Lexi Hull hits a corner 3. Lads, this is an absolute, like, crazy situation. To tie the game, Kelsey Mitchell shoots a dribble, sidestep, fall away air ball.
Despite Connecticut's offensive limitations, Indiana allowed 85 points in a game that appeared more competitive than underlying performance suggested. Late-game heroics from DeWanna Bonner, including a banked three-pointer and subsequent difficult shots, plus Lexi Hull's corner three-pointer, created artificial drama in what should have been a decisive victory for the home team. Kelsey Mitchell's shooting struggles epitomized Indiana's offensive dysfunction. Her 4 of 15 field goal performance represented marginal improvement over a previous 4 of 16 outing, demonstrating concerning consistency issues. The game's crucial moment saw Mitchell attempt an ill-advised isolation play, resulting in an air ball, symbolizing the team's poor decision-making under pressure.
Not only that, Sid Colson, their backup point guard gets injured. Sophie Cunningham, their third choice point guard, gets injured. And because they went out with 11 and they're down, they still now have 8 healthy players. Because only 3 people are injured. As far as I'm aware, they can't sign a hardship player.
Indiana's injury crisis has reached critical levels with multiple point guards sidelined. Sid Colson sustained injury during the contest, joining Sophie Cunningham on the inactive list. This reduction leaves the team with only 8 healthy players, though WNBA hardship contract rules require 4 injured players before emergency signings become permissible. Current roster construction forces unconventional lineup decisions. The starting 5 consists of Mitchell at point guard, Hull, Aaliyah Boston, Nalissa Smith, and Bonner, with limited bench depth provided primarily by Temi Fagbenle. The organization faces difficult decisions about releasing ineffective players to create roster space for emergency acquisitions. Bree Turner's continued roster presence, despite minimal basketball contribution, represents questionable resource allocation. Her inability to provide meaningful minutes while occupying a valuable roster spot creates additional strain on an already thin rotation. The team's reluctance to utilize Michaela Onion further compounds depth concerns.
They have 6 healthy players that can play. Because Bree Turner cannot play basketball, and they just don't play Michaela Timpson for some reason. There is no way Michaela Timpson is worse than Bree Turner. I don't even know if I looked at it. I looked up the hardship rules. It states you need 4 players to be injured. It states you need 4 players to be injured. Like, you're going to have to get rid of Bree Turner to replace her with a guard. You have to do that right now. And they're going to do something dumb like bring in Bree Hall, who's not a point guard, to run the point guard. Bree Hall was, South Carolina's 7th choice point guard?
Several potential solutions exist within available player pools. Kennedy Carter represents the most viable short-term addition, though her availability remains uncertain. Serena Sundell's preseason performance suggested insufficient readiness for professional competition, while Deja Kelly's undrafted status reflects limited upside potential. Boston emerged as the contest's primary positive contributor, recording 7 assists against 1 turnover, while demonstrating unexpected playmaking abilities. Her natural basketball intelligence and court vision suggest potential utility as an emergency point guard. During the crisis period, Smith's offensive production continues generating empty statistics rather than meaningful team impact. Her scoring contributions often occur during garbage time or against compromised defensive rotations, failing to translate into winning plays during competitive moments.
After Tahina Paupau, Raven Johnson, Malaysia Fulwiley, Tessa Johnson, and probably someone at the end of the bench. They've got 6 players right now. They are going into the Washington Mystics game with 6 players because they don't play Michaela Timpson. Bree Turner is barely a basketball player. They have their starting 5 now, which is going to be Kelsey Mitchell-Point, Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, Natasha Howard, and DeWanna Bonner. And then they have Dantas on the bench. Dantas on the bench. And this front office is going to do something dumb. If they're going to cut Bree Turner, they're going to do something dumb.
Hull's performance remains solid without significant criticism, providing consistent effort and execution within her defined role. Her reliability becomes increasingly valuable as surrounding roster instability continues mounting throughout the injury-plagued period. The coaching staff faces impossible circumstances with limited personnel and tactical options. Stephanie White's strategic approach appears inadequate for current roster limitations, though alternative coaching solutions remain theoretical given mid-season constraints. Defensive capabilities have deteriorated beyond acceptable standards for competitive basketball. The team's inability to prevent scoring against offensively challenged opponents suggests fundamental scheme breakdowns that extend beyond individual player limitations.
At this stage, I don't care. I don't care. She could literally be starting brawls in the locker room. There is nothing worse, absolutely nothing worse for morale than losing to the 0-5 Connecticut Sun. Bring in Kennedy Carter.
International player acquisition represents potential long-term solutions requiring significant organizational commitment. European basketball markets contain proven talent that could address current deficiencies, though such moves require extensive advanced planning and financial investment. Trading opportunities exist for established players like Marine Johannes from New York Liberty or pursuing Ilona Rupavicius rights, though Indiana's limited trade assets complicate potential negotiations. Previous successful model examples include Phoenix Mercury's Janelle Salone acquisition.
I don't care. I just don't care anymore. You need to win a basketball game. This team is not going to win another game. Like this team, and by the way, Caitlin Clark is probably not gonna check back in to be full court press and hacked by Ryan Howard. That is the dumbest thing that they can do.
Clark's return timeline remains uncertain, with conservative estimates suggesting 6-game absence minimum. Rushing her return against physical opponents like those typically encountered creates unnecessary injury risks that could compound long-term franchise concerns. Upcoming schedule challenges include contests against Washington Mystics and Chicago Sky, both representing difficult matchups for the depleted roster. The Mystics recently suffered substantial defeat against New York Liberty, but possess superior depth and coaching compared to Indiana's current situation. Fan expectations require realistic adjustment given current circumstances. The organization should prioritize Clark's complete recovery over short-term competitive results, accepting temporary losses to preserve long-term franchise cornerstone health. Roster construction failures from previous seasons continue haunting current operations. The organization's inability to develop adequate depth behind star players reflects poor planning and talent evaluation throughout multiple front office administrations. Historic precedent suggests teams can survive star player absences with proper preparation and depth development. Indiana's current crisis stems from systematic organizational failures rather than unavoidable circumstances, making resolution particularly challenging. Recovery requires comprehensive evaluation of coaching staff effectiveness, player development programs, and talent acquisition strategies. Current Band-Aid solutions cannot address fundamental structural problems that extend beyond immediate injury concerns. The franchise stands at a crossroads requiring decisive action on multiple fronts. Continuing current approaches guarantees extended losing streaks and potential damage to organizational culture that extends beyond Clark's eventual return. Long-term competitive viability depends on addressing systematic deficiencies exposed by current crisis circumstances. While star players can mask organizational problems temporarily, sustainable success requires comprehensive infrastructure development throughout all basketball operations levels.